Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. 9 o'clock crept up on me today. Totally not organised. Totally not organised. But here we are. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Friday. Friday, 1st of July. July already. It's mad. I don't know where this year's gone. If you are watching, please, you're there already. Do please pop a hello in the comments. Good evening, Sephora. Good morning, Jane. Welcome. Good morning, Jay. Welcome, everyone, to Friday. Hurrah! Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Janet. Good morning, Kerry. Lots of lovely people here already. What are you doing up so early? Or so late, depending on where you are in the world. Good morning, Kerry. Good morning, Sarah. Welcome, everyone, to Friday. Sun is shining, sky is blue.
You're not going to start singing.
Not a cloud to spoil the view. No, I'm not going to start singing.
Thank God for that.
Good morning, Claire. I had to sing at the weekend. I apologise for anyone that was in the red tent with me at the weekend because I was singing. It's bad. Good morning, Louise. Yeah, singing's not one of my things.
Really?
Mm. You can shush just because you can sing. Singing's not one of my virtues.
You have a talent. You can sing in various different keys
Thank
at the
you.
same time.
Yes, apparently I can sing in various different keys all at the same time. See, just not everyone can do that.
No, it is a talent.
Good morning, Christine. Yes, that's Pete. He's supposed to be working hard rather than making rude comments.
I am.
Good morning, Emma. Watching whilst on holiday in sunny Southend. Don't think I've ever been to Southend, actually. Getting ready for my birthday tomorrow. Oh, happy birthday for tomorrow, Emma. You've gigged in Southend.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Good morning, Tony. I hope you have a very lovely day tomorrow, Emma. Birthdays are always good. So let's start with this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 2nd and 3rd of July, MoonCon 22. Do join us. 2 whole days of free online talks from various different authors. We've got all kinds of subjects. Let's have a look. I will be talking about the fire element for my new book. We've got Julie Brett with Belonging to the Earth. We've got Frances Billinghurst with The Dark Goddess. We have Rewilding Your Heart's Runic Magic of Cats, which is going to be fun because that's Andrew Anderson. He's always brilliant. Imelda Almqvist, Morgan Daimler, Ellen Everett Hopman, Jenna Tlendrew, Irisanya Moon, Taryn S. We've got Magic of Crossroads, we've got Druidry, we've got Scrying, we've got all sorts of things. 2 whole days of free talks. Do join us. Moonbook's Facebook or Moonbook's YouTube channel. I'm pushing it because I'm running it. I will be online for 2 whole days. So do join us. Links are in the comments. It's free. If you can't catch the talks live, then do catch them on the replay. But live is better because you can interact with the speakers then. You'll be able to ask questions of all the speakers. So that's what I'm doing this weekend. And Pete as well, in between gigging. Good morning, Angela. Good morning, Maria. Good morning, Karen. I've missed some Sumlets because I was waffling. Sephora, looks like you guys had way too much. Oh, we did. Heather, Ness and myself didn't stop laughing. Pagan Tribal Gathering, that was last weekend. We did not stop laughing from one end of the weekend to the other. Hang on, the dog requires a blanket. There you go. Oh, I covered his head.
That's rude, Eric.
There will be a blog post about the Pagan Tribal Gathering. It was amazing. Good morning, everyone joining us. Good morning. Yeah, it's going to be a busy weekend this weekend too. So yeah, perhaps not quite so much laughter, more learning. No, there'll be lots of laughter too. And I learnt lots last weekend as well. Rune binding and all sorts last weekend. It was fab. And there was a coffee shower as well, but that'll all be in the blog. So it was kind of, I ran a workshop this week for the College of Psychic Studies on moon magic, which was immense fun. I had some brilliant people, loads of lovely questions. And one of those questions kind of sparked today's subject, along with a few emails that I've had recently. So I would love for you guys to give me your insights. Maria can't comment on Facebook. Oh, have you been put in jail again? Maria would like to say good morning to Jane. She is there. Jane, Maria says good morning. I'm sure she says good morning back to you as well. Good morning, Charlie. Yes, she does. There you go. Yeah, so it was that, and then several comments that I've had on emails about things that led me to the subject today, which is about taking responsibility for magic. It is about good manners in magic. Good morning, Eva. See, manners. We were talking in the Moon Magic Workshop about creating spells, obviously, for different moon phases, and mostly we're asking for stuff, whether it is healing or success or money. When we put a spell out there, we're asking for stuff. And this was one of the questions that was asked in the Moon Magic Workshop was, can we just keep asking for stuff? Surely there's some kind of balance there, which there is, absolutely, checks and balances. And I've also had quite a few emails. I get them anyway, people asking for spells and what do I do for this? And have you got a spell for that? Again, most of them are asking for money generally. I need to move house. Can you give me a spell so that my house sells? And then they kind of come back and go, actually, I need a bit more money. Can you give me a spell to bring loads more money in? And I think a lot of these people are not magical folk. Most of them aren't witches, but they are manifesting. They are used to working with manifesting magic. There's lots of courses. There's lots of books. I've seen lots of things on Facebook. Come and join us for moon magic manifesting, which is fine. It's great. The moon is happy to help. But if you don't have that experience, that knowledge, that background with how spells work, with how magic works, with how energy works, I'm not sure that you really get the balance right. Spell working can be very straightforward, but you have to take responsibility for it. And I'm not sure that people that don't understand the whole concept of it take on the responsibility of it as well. So that's really what I'm talking about today. Jane says, have you been really naughty, Maria? Oh, guarantee it. Absolutely guarantee it. Good morning, Trudy. Back from Stanton Drew. Very beautiful place. And Glasgow town camping at its best. Perfect. Good morning, Andrea. So this is what I wanted to talk about today, is the kind of checks and balances, the manners, the paying it forward, the giving it back, you can't keep asking, you can't keep taking without some kind of gratitude, some kind of giving it back. I don't think you can anyway. I think you'll come a cropper with it, to be honest. I've even been asked for spells to win the lottery. Seriously, do you think that I wouldn't have done it if there was one that works? Would have been there, done that. So really, it's about responsibility. It's about how you work things. Don't know how you guys feel about it. I work spells. I don't work them every day. Sometimes I don't work them for weeks. I generally try and work on the mundane way of dealing with things first. Going back a few years now, one of the children was being bullied at school. So we spoke to the school and we got it sorted out that way. We did make a little crystal protection pouch afterwards, but I dealt with it first on a mundane level. I also, from the point of money spells, You can work as many money manifesting spells as you want to. If you don't actually do the work to bring the money in, then it's not going to happen. Stuff does not generally just land in your lap unless the coffee pot explodes and then all the coffee lands in your lap. That's what happened last weekend. So there is. I have got a picture to prove it. Yes, we look like we've been rained on.
Tell the story.
I got to tell the story. Yeah. We were at Pagan Tribal Gathering last weekend. A very nice coffee wagon. Lovely coffee. Fantastic gluten-free vegan cakes, which were amazing.
Nice bloke.
A very nice bloke that Heather wanted to take home. Yeah. But he made us a pot of coffee one morning, like the cafetiere jobbies. So we sat outside at the little table. He brought the cafetiere over and cups, and they've got plungers on. So he's pushing the plunger down, and it got stuck. And he gave it an almighty push, and this whole fountain of coffee came up over all of us. We had coffee grinds in her hair. We had coffee dripping down her face. We had coffee all down her shirts. All on it. Oh, we were covered, absolutely covered, and hysterically laughing till we cried. It was so funny. The poor man, I think he wanted to swallow him up. He was so embarrassed, but we thought it was really funny. It was hot, and we smelled of coffee for the rest of the day. But it was fun. But anyway, back to magical manners. Let's start some comments and hope that coffee comes our way in a cup.
Oh, God.
Sephora, personally terrified to ask for monetary stuff in case I start a chain of events that cost dearly. Now, I don't want to put people off from asking for money in spells. You absolutely can. You deserve it. Sometimes you really need it. And I do it. I do occasionally do abundance checks to keep money rolling in because we've got to pay the bills. But it's about asking for more work, more opportunities, more avenues to open up to you, rather than saying, okay, give me some cash, which a lot of people that are not magical folk do tend to do. They just think that they can work a spell and all this money will land in their laps. But there is a responsibility to it. Whatever magic you work will affect someone or something. I like to use the example that if you work a spell to get a new job, put the spell into motion that you want the right job to come your way. You still have to apply for jobs. It doesn't just land in your lap, but the magic, the energy of the spell will help those opportunities open up to you. Then if you apply for them and you get an interview, you work another spell so that when you're at the interview, you get the job. I've done it. I've done it myself. I've done it for the children when they've been for their job interviews. I've worked a spell to get things going. Ultimately, if they're not right for the job, they're not going to get the job anyway. But it just gives that kind of push to it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. But when you get that job, you are affecting someone else. There is always consequences to magic. Even if you think it doesn't, you think you're fine doing a spell to get the job because no one's going to get hurt, blah, blah, blah. But they do. Because if you get the job, that means the other people that went for the job aren't going to get it. So there is always that ripple effect from magic. But take responsibility for it. It's absolutely, you're right to work magic to bring money in, to make your life better, to make the life better for your children, for your family, to give those things a boost. You work magic, that's what we do. But just bear in mind that there is that other side to it. So if you need money, do work a spell. The universe won't let you down if you really need it, if they think you deserve it. But you cannot do this whole I manifest every full moon, but actually I don't do anything else to do with magic or honoring the gods or thanking the universe. Or obviously this is just my opinion, but I've been doing it a long time. The give and take of manifesting stuff puts a whole new slot on universal credit. there just does seem to be this manifesting is the word, and that seems to be the kind of key thing at the moment that people are putting out there. And I've seen courses and I've seen workshops, manifesting magic. Come and join us for the full moon to manifest your desires. And there's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't, as long as you look at the other side of it. Checks and balances. Magic, spells, energy work has checks and balances, because it will always have cause and effect, in my experience. Cows boiling. Run to the kettle.
Well, you had cake with yours.
Oh, cake. Yeah, we got cake.
Yeah. Which cake was that?
Oh, I'll have some bread pudding. Thank you.
Okay.
I like this staff thing, having servants. Maria, spells seem to be whatever comes out of my mouth. Always good. But a part of the spell, and that happens, I do it. It's your will and your intent as well. But if you want to curse and hex everybody, that's absolutely your right and choice to do so. Just remember that there is cause and effect. Take responsibility for it. You're putting that magic and that energy out there, and I don't care I'm not going to judge for what actual magic spells you put out there. Just remember that there's responsibility to it. You've got to kind of do that. I'm putting that out there, so I got to take responsibility for that. Karen, I try to do earth healing most days, try and pay back, usually do a month. Yes, earth healing, just a kind of, it's a gratitude thing, isn't it? And every so often I will do a gratitude spell. I will work a spell to say thank you for everything that I have, for everything that happens to me. If a big opportunity comes up, I will give an offering to say thank you. In fact, every spell that I work, no matter how big or small, I always do an offering afterwards. It might just be feeding the birds. It might be offering libation to the soil. It might be crumbling some cake into the garden or onto the bird feeding table. It's a thank you. And you've got to mind your P's and Q's. You really have got to do that whole, you have provided for me, universe, gods, deities, whatever, divine, whatever you work with. And I thank you for that. So there is that gratitude aspect to it as well. Sephora, you guys, we were lucky that we didn't get burnt. It was very hot coffee, but we were laughing so much, I don't think it mattered. Yeah, it was hilarious, wasn't it? I still laugh about it now. In fact, when I took my shirt out of the suitcase and saw all the coffee splattered all over it. Yeah, hint, Trudy, that was a hint that I needed a cup of coffee. Angela, could think of worse things one could smell of. Yeah, it was nice coffee too, though it did smell nice. Claire, I always do an offering, even if it's just as simple as feeding the birds. I feed the bird. I refilled the birds' feeders this morning. Yeah, it is a simple thing to say thank you to Mother Earth, to nature, to whatever it might be, just as a thank you.
If that's gluten-free, it's very impressive.
It is gluten-free bread pudding, yes.
Yeah, I just tested it.
Did you test it? I wonder whether there's big bits of it out. I made gluten-free bread pudding just because bread pudding is the food of the gods. See, and that actually giving some bread pudding as an offering would be a great sacrifice to me because it's my favorite cake ever. And I think that makes a difference too. If you are giving an offering, then it has to really count. If you're giving an offering, don't give something that you don't really want, because that's not an offering. Does that make sense? It's got to be important to you to be an offering, I think.
Like me giving Marmite.
Like you giving away Marmite, yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Christine, I never asked for money as I was told that it could cause someone to die to get an inheritance. Yeah, you can do a disclaimer thing for that. So I always ask for enough money to get me through. I was told many years ago by a fortune teller that I would never be rich, but always be able to pay my bills. You and me both, Christine. I'm not destined to have a huge house with staff, which actually I wouldn't want. But as long as you've got enough to cover the bills. A couple of the interesting things there. Thank you for that. That is the example that I tend to use when you're working a magic spell to bring in money. I need loads of money. Bring me loads of money. You have to put a disclaimer on it. because you could get loads of money, but it could be that someone died and you inherited the money, which really you don't want, because that's not nice. You can put a disclaimer on that, and there is the Wiccan term "and harm none," which quite often people put on the end of spells, which is all good and well, and that makes sense. But I also think that that one little phrase does restrict what happens with a spell. You can put "and harm none" on the end, and it would mean that no one dies. But it could also be interpreted as being very restrictive in that it doesn't affect anyone either. So go back to your interview job and the dog's singing because I've got cake. Let's just move the cake over there. It can restrict things. So if you put "and harm none" on the end of your spell, go to the interview one. "And harm none" would mean that you don't get the job because that would harm other people that don't get the job. Do you see where I'm going with this? So I think it is about thinking very carefully about the words of your spell, which you should do anyway. Spells have a great habit of going off in unexpected directions. And bear in mind, the universe gets involved, and the universe can be a total git. And of course, the universe knows what you need rather than what you want, and they might be two different things. But I did used to use "and harm none," and you will see it in my first couple of books that I put that on there just to be safe. But then reality dawned, and I thought, actually, I'm tying myself. I'm tying the hands of the spell energy. So with a money spell, you would work it so that the wording covers that no one actually dies for it. And also with my abundance checks, another good point, Christine, thank you. I write an abundance check spell occasionally. And I used to put, bless you, enough money to cover the bills. But again, someone pointed out to me, this is years ago now, you're restricting yourself slightly. If you put, I tend to put "paid in full" now, because that kind of covers a little bit of, actually, there is a little bit left for you to have a date night or a takeaway or whatever it might be. You can't keep asking for loads and loads and loads, because it won't happen, because that's just greedy. But yes, good points, Christine. Thank you. Jane, here's a money spell for when we see the first slither of new moon. Due soon, she is indeed. Hold your purse in both hands. Look at the moon and say, "Crescent moon, clear and bright, help me out when money's tight. Keep me from financial trouble. Here's my money, make it double. I will not give in to greed, and I shall work for what I need," while turning the purse one whole turn towards you. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. You're asking for enough, but a little bit extra, but not greedy, and also asking that opportunities open up for you to work for that money. I think particularly perhaps non-magical folk believe that spells you do a spell and it all happens and that's it, just sit back. Any spell takes a bit of effort. If you do a love spell to find your soulmate, and I was asked that question recently too, do a spell to bring a soulmate to you. Don't be specific. Do not write one to a specific person. That is going against their whole free will. But if you want to just put it out there that you'd like your soulmate to find you, be open to it. But it's no good sitting at home not going anywhere because your soulmate's not going to find you. Unless they're online, I suppose. Different these days. You got to go out there and meet people. So all spells generally take a little bit of mundane stuff to back them up, to move them forward. Even the money spells, really, as Jane says, it's about I'll work for what I need. So money spells can open up opportunities for you or new avenues of income, but you need to follow them up. Good morning, Leslie. Jane, giving to Mother Earth in any way we can is the best way of redressing the balance, in my humble opinion. Absolutely. We've got to look after Mother Earth anyway, but kind of doing that does redress the balance. There are other things you can do. Mother Earth is always grateful for any healing energy or looking after her, clearing the beaches, picking up litter, feeding the birds. But there's also the sort of paying it forward. I regularly clear out my cupboards and I'll give clothes and books and bits, not often books, let's be honest. Clothes, bric-a-brac, shoes. When the kids grew out of stuff, that all went to charity. And to me, that's kind of paying it forward or giving back, because I'm donating stuff to charity for other people. I quite often donate regularly to the Red Foundation, which is a Dachshund rescue charity. That's paying it forward. That's giving it back. Just little things, whether it is time or effort or things you no longer need. Again, that's kind of redressing the balance as well. And it might just be your time for someone. Maria says she's all right for tea. She's made hers already. Kerry, let's have a look. What about the consequences when you try to manifest improvement of your own health, which I do, as there's no point in being rich, bit sick? Oh, definitely. I think this, you kind of, there's a couple of sides to this. If you want to help other people, if you support other people, family members, friends, carer, whatever it might be, if you're running on empty, you're going to be no good to anyone else. So I know you're looking at me. My husband's
hello, this is the kettle.
My husband's just glared at me over the top of the screen. I'm really rubbish at that. I am really rubbish at that. But anyway, I can feel Heather, Ness and Sue's eyes burning into me as well. But you are. If you're running on empty, then you can't look after other people. So self-care is important, and working magic to improve your own health is very important, because you won't be able to help others. But I think healing perhaps comes into a slightly different category. You can ask for healing, absolutely, because it might be for you, it might be for others. But I guess just coming out of my head here, I've got no script today, you may have noticed. I've got no notes, nothing. If you are trying to manifest magically improvements to your health, you really do have to back that up with mundane stuff. It's no good asking, I knew you wouldn't do this, Kerry, I'm just using this as a general starting off point. If you are manifesting magic, spells, energy to heal yourself, it's no good then doing things that you know will be detrimental to your health. It's kind of an insult to the gods, to the deities, to the magical energy. So I get, quite importantly with this one, you've got to back it up with the mundane stuff, because otherwise they're not going to do it again. If you magically improve your health, or work magic to improve your health, and then do stuff that's detrimental to it, if you then work another magic spell for your health, they're probably not going to be listening to you. Why would we bother doing that again when you've just undone all the work that we did? If that all makes sense to you. I know you wouldn't, Kerry, but yes, you're absolutely entitled to work magic to improve your own health. You're also entitled to bring protection for yourself and your family as well. Never think that the unharmed none rule doesn't apply there. It's not about not allowing you to protect yourself and your family. You're absolutely allowed to do that. But good point. Leanne, can't give an offering of my favourite. It's chocolate and could kill cats. Yes, kill cats and dogs. You've got to be very careful when you're giving offerings, if you're leaving them outside or on places inside where cats, dogs and small children can get hold of them. Just bear in mind not to leave things that can be detrimental to their health. Chocolate is no good to cats and dogs. Various things, plant-wise, are not good for them. Don't leave glasses of rum for the deities if your small children can get hold of them. Yeah, it's just about being sensible. Emma, I like to do Reiki session for the earth. Yes, perfect. Reiki energy is brilliant for sending back to the earth. We've got an order for an Americano to go with the cake. We have peanut butter cupcakes today and bread pudding. Oh, we've got chocolate cake left too, actually, but Ben would probably chop your arms off if you ate his chocolate cake. Angela has a lovely story about leaving an offering to an oak tree, but it's quite long, so post in the Facebook group. Thank you, Angela. We'll read that later. That'd be fantastic. Janet, I only asked to stay in a job, not more money. I've worked spells to keep our jobs safe when they looked a little bit iffy because, mortgage bills. At the time we had both children at home, and you're allowed to protect yourself. You are allowed to work magic to keep yourself in a job safe, secure, with enough. Just remember that there is a balance to that. Remember that you cannot keep asking. There has to be some gratitude along the line. Let's say whenever I work a spell, no matter how small, I do give a little offering just to balance it out. And then occasionally I'll give to charity and, give my time, give my effort. You just gotta be a decent person, basically. But working magic comes with responsibility. I think there's an awful lot of people that don't recognize that or don't work that way. Sarah did that by accident, finding a soulmate, a happy accident. Christine, I prefer to do a deterrent of money flowing out of the house by burying a coin on its side in front of the door, making sure it's dug in deep enough to stop anyone tripping on it. It's a different perspective, isn't it? Different way of looking at things. It's still working magic. There's still that responsibility that comes with it. But I know, Christine, you do all that stuff. You're aware of that stuff. But it is putting it out there that there are a lot of people that don't teach that or maybe aren't even aware of that with working any kind of magic, there has to be a responsibility. Sarah, put a joke advert on my Facebook post for the day. Oh, excellent. Excellent. Kerry, is there a limit on manifesting positivity, self-esteem, motivation, etc.? And how would you pay it forward? There is no limit, as from my point of view. If you want to work a spell every day, then work a spell every day. Just bear in mind that you can't keep asking for stuff. You have to give something back. And every spell I work, I do an offering. Every spell is an offering afterwards, followed by an offering. And it only has to be something like feeding the birds or giving an offering of cake or something to the ground or leaving something on your altar. If you've called in deity to help you with a spell, I always leave an offering on the altar for that deity. It's just about being aware that you are putting out that energy and you have to give something back because it's going to go horribly wrong otherwise. So no, there's no limit. It's just about being aware that there are checks and balances. You can't keep taking. You can't keep asking. And we do. Whenever you think about a spell, you're asking for something. Like my coffee. I did make cakes in return for my coffee. Oh, hang on, the dog's bed's not right. Go on then. So yeah, do as many spells as you like. Just balance it out. Offerings are, to me, they are automatically come with a spell. You work a spell, you give an offering. I just do it as a matter of course. But if you're a decent person, you give your time and you give your support and you do the odd charity thing, then you're fine. It's just about that whole understanding that spells are energy and every spell works like a stone thrown in a pond. There are ripples to it. Karen, we sponsor a dog at Dogs Trust. Oh, bless. And feed the birds and the squirrels. Excellent. Yeah, it's we do what we can. And obviously sponsoring Dogs at Dog Trust or donating to charities costs money. But there are things that you can do for free or relatively cheaply, like feeding the birds, caring, taking a cake round to the neighbour or, taking their bins in on bin day. There's lots of little things that you can do that just make you a decent person. Nothing to do with energy of magic and spells. It is about understanding that you are manipulating energy. And that energy, whatever spell it is, has an effect on others, on the universe. It is responsibility. Keith, you seem to have found your soulmate. Do you think they're talking about the dog?
I think so. It's bloody not me, is it?
How do you keep your soulmate really happy and love you the same? Pete and I are celebrating 30 years together this year. There is no secret. There is no magic involved. I have never worked a spell for our relationship. It's about trust and communication. Yeah, would you agree?
Yeah.
That's the two biggies, isn't it? Talking about stuff. Yeah, talking about stuff. Even if I'm, having gone through a lot of horrendous perimenopause hormones, it is about getting up in the morning and saying, I am an evil person today. Don't come near me because I will bite your head off. No, it's about explaining how you feel each day. It's about talking about how you feel about stuff, even if it sounds really silly. Yeah, do you remember that period? Yeah. Communication. It's also about effort. Yes, I found my soulmate, but we still have to work. It's a relationship. Every relationship, whether it is a marriage, a partnership, a friendship, takes effort. 30 years on, and we still go out for date days. We still make time to spend with each other. We both have really busy lives with all of my witchcraft stuff. Pete works full time. He's in a band. He's in three bands. Yeah, 3 bands. So you've got to make sure that there's time in the diary for each other as well. So it takes work. It's like the spells. You've got to, there is a checks and balances. You've got to make time for each other. You've got to make it work. So it takes hard work and effort a lot of the time. But communication, I think, is probably our biggest thing. Going to the next one. Pause for coffee. Leslie, I did a love spell about 24 years ago when I was a complete newbie. Put down a list of things I wanted in him. Next day, I met him and spent the worst 3 years of my life. Got exactly what I asked for. But all the really important qualities were left out. Lesson learned. Thank you for sharing that, Leslie. That nails it. There are a couple of blogs on my love spell blog posts on my blog about working with love spells. What you think you might want isn't necessarily what you need. You might ask for someone with a great sense of humor. Might turn out that he's a complete pain in the butt because all he does is make stupid jokes or play tricks. I'm not looking at you. You are the reincarnation of Sid James. But no, but this is about, if you are specific with the things that you want, then they aren't necessarily what you need, and they may not come out exactly how you thought they might. So if you are working a love spell to bring your soulmate to you, just leave it open to the universe to decide who it's going to be, because they know much better than you do. The universe is pretty clever. Yeah, Jane says be careful what you wish for, and that is with spells in general. I think that is a good thing to remember. Be careful what you wish for. Karen, my gran used to leave honey and milk out for the fae. They love a bit of honey and milk. Working with the fae is a whole other subject, which I am doing a 3-hour workshop on from the College of Psychic Studies. I'm not sure people are prepared for that really, and the real fairy story, but it'll be interesting. Maria loves bread pudding. Bread pudding is my favorite cake. Favorite cake. Jane, is it okay to do Reiki when you're running on empty? We wouldn't be using our own energy. I've just completed level 1 Reiki and it's fab, but left me knackered and full of aches and pains after we worked on each other in pairs. Teacher said it can be like a detox and it's to be expected. When you're learning Reiki, you can feel like that. When you're using Reiki, and actually when you're working with any kind of energy work, you should never, ever be left feeling drained. If you're doing that, if you're feeling that, then you're drawing on your own energy rather than drawing on energy from outside. That goes for any energy work, whether you're working with spells, whether you're working with healing. Never, never, never draw on your own internal energy reserves, because it will make you very poorly. Mother Earth, the universe, is more than happy to provide energy for you. Sometimes you just channel it through your body. If you're not sending it direct from the universe, you can channel it. But never draw on your own internal energy, because that will leave you feeling really tired. If you still feel drained each time you use it, Jane, have a word with your Reiki teacher, because you're obviously drawing from your inside yourself rather than outside, and that's no good for you. But it does, at beginning, it can be a little bit tricky to balance. I wouldn't, when you're running on empty, I would Reiki yourself first. Recharge yourself with Reiki energy before you go working on anybody else, because you're going to be no good to them. And if you are running on empty, you're also going to pick up all sorts of their negative energy as well. Reiki's amazing. I qualified as a Reiki master teacher years ago now, and it is a very useful tool. But no, should never ever leave you feeling empty or drained. If you're doing that, then you're drawing on your own energy reserves. But start, is it heal thyself, something like that. Yeah, haven't had quite enough coffee yet. You need to Reiki yourself if you're running on empty first, because you're not going to be any good to anybody otherwise. Rachel, I plant trees and donate to charity as my thank you for any of my magical workings, which is brilliant. If you're able to do that, then absolutely brilliant. Good morning, Rabbit Moon. Janet, I give every time I go to the grocery store. Oh, okay, to the food bank baskets, or some of them do pet food ones as well, don't they? Brilliant. It's only a few pence, isn't it? And you can kind of drop a tin in there. Gift to thrift shops, clothes and shoes. Yeah. Obviously that costs money. If you know, well, giving to thrift stores doesn't, but if you are donating to food banks, brilliant. But if it costs money and you haven't got that, then there are plenty of things you can do for free. Emma, I remember doing 2 legal spells once to give thanks for the help I received, put things out for the ants, insects and birds, such as a few apples underneath the apple tree, bird feeder in front garden. Perfect. That is an offering. That is a way of giving back that is cheap and easy to do. Good morning, Kerry. Oh, perfect. Sephora, I think kindness goes a long way. Absolutely. If, we've got to look after each other in this mad old world, because everything's gone completely haywire. Just a kind word to someone is, picking up someone's bag when they've dropped it when you're out, or like I say, taking in your neighbour's bins. That's just being a decent human being. Kerry, does helping out someone either in time or physical count as paying it forward? Absolutely. Or is it best to do offerings to the deities as well? I think helping someone out is just a nice, general, good human being thing to do. I think if you are calling on the deities for your spell work, or the universe, to leave an offering needs to be done without question. If you've asked for a deity to do something for you, then a thank you. And it doesn't have to be a physical offering. If you don't have flowers or herbs or incense offering or chocolate or whatever it is that you might be offering to them, I quite often, when I'm working with Sulis, she likes money. I quite often leave coins for her, but they're only copper coins. They're 2p's and 1p's. But it's a way of saying thank you to her. Your deity will let you know what offering to leave. Ask them, what offering would you like in exchange for this? You'll know whether it feels right or not. But you don't have to give physical things. Deities like a song or a poem, or they won't like my songs. I'm not going to sing to my deities. They disappear. Quick, let's get out of it. But you can sing, you can dance, you could recite a poem to them. it's giving your time, your effort, your thanks to them. So it doesn't have to be physical things. Eva, I often channel Reiki energy as a thanks when I work with plants or trees. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. If you don't work with Reiki, you can channel earth energy. Draw the energy from the earth beneath your feet, or the sky above you, or from the wind or the rain, and channel it through and send it back as positive energy to the earth. Rachel, yes, you can, as you receive energy as you channel it. After level 1 attunement, there is a period of adjustment. Yes, absolutely. Slept for a few weeks after my first attunement, was bouncing off the walls on the second. Yeah, it's a huge adjustment to your body. But if you are going to be working on other people, you need to be full of energy yourself first. So yeah, I would Reiki myself first and then pass it on. If you've got to look after yourself first from an energy point of view, otherwise you're not going to have anything to give. Deathy says everything is energy, so if you know how to work that, you can manipulate, manifest that energy. It is, everything is energy. Every item has energy. Everything on the planet has energy, and that's exactly what we do. We manipulate that energy when we work a spell. But it is about understanding that energy works with a balance, checks and balance. You're manipulating that energy to manifest things, whatever it might be. But there is checks and balances to that. It is about taking responsibility and knowing that it is going to affect other people. Christine, trust in relationships. I have holy stones all over the place, keeping my lad faithful and keep the dogs safe. Good old hag stones. Powerful things, natural things that you can find that don't cost you money. Yeah, brilliant. Karen, maybe a spell to help you communicate would be good for those that find it difficult. Communication isn't always easy. It should be easier with the one that you trust and love the most. Sometimes I feel like a complete and utter twit once I've said what it is I've said, but it's out there and I feel better for it. And I think after 30 years, Pete's got used to me being a complete nut job. But yes, you could work a spell for communication. You could work with your throat chakra, clear your throat chakra so that your communication is better. Just sit down with a glass of wine, yeah. It's not, I appreciate communication isn't always easy for people, but it is, I think, key to a very good relationship, because you have to know what each other's thinking or feeling, and then you can deal with it. Jill, I used to care for a couple who had celebrated 70 years of marriage and asked their secret. Communication, trust, yes, humour. Yeah, we have plenty of that. They both said if you can't laugh together, you're in trouble. Even after 70 years of marriage, they still looked at each other like love-struck teenagers. Pete's glaring at me from over the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was? Oh, sorry, it was a love-struck look.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell the difference. Laughter is very good for the soul, absolutely. Emma says, Jane, ask for the Reiki energy to flow through before doing a session. That usually helps me. Also ask for healing beings to aid you along the way. They'll help you too. Yeah, Reiki's about adjusting to a new system, and it will take a little while. Good morning, Cos. Should be working, but here I am. Well. Always try to leave an offering by feeding the birds and squirrels in the garden or picking up litter on dog walks. There's plenty of that. Yeah, unfortunately there is, isn't there? It's just decent things to do, isn't it? Looking after the planet. Jane says, when someone offers me their seat on the tube, I always accept gratefully, and I say to them, I hope something nice happens for you too. It's funny, isn't it? I found different people react to things, particularly I think where we all had the lockdowns and then people started coming out, and we met when we were out was dog walkers, really, and even complete strangers. Good morning, it's people just it's nice to say hello to people or good morning to people. I can remember walking with my children when they were much younger, walking to school, and 2 police officers walked past us. And I said to the kids as we got there, don't forget to say good morning to the police officers. So they did as we came up to them. And the police officers didn't know what to do. They were so unused to people saying good morning to them. They kind of stuttered a bit, which is sad, really. It's, you know, it's just decent things to do. As well as paying it forward, giving it back, whatever it might be. Yeah, Karen, I play the NA drone flute as offerings to deity or drums. Okay, I'm fascinated to know what that sounds like now, Karen. Emma, don't forget to thank the beings for their help. I think anything you work with, isn't it? Deities, spirits, animal spirit guides, other world spirits. If they've done something for you, or you've asked them for their advice or their insight or their help, you need to thank them. Apart from the fact that it's good manners, you've asked them for something. You've asked them to lend you energy. We do it in ritual. You call in the quarters. You ask those elements to be there for you. You ask them to lend their energies to your ritual. And when you've done your spell working, whatever it might be in the middle of the ritual, we thank them for being there. And we do the same with deity. You invite them to lend their energy to your ritual, and then we thank them afterwards. We do it in ritual as a matter of course. So I think it should be done as a matter of course for spell work as well. Kerry, what do you do with the offerings after the spell that you put on the altar or the kitchen windowsill? Interestingly, this question came up in the Moon Magic Working too, because I had suggested you might like to leave a bag of M&Ms for your deity. It's happened. I've had people that left chocolate for the deities because that's what they wanted. Ganesha in particular. In fact, he's cradling a chocolate bar at the moment as an offering to him for something that I'd asked him to do. I don't eat them. I put them in the trash, basically. That's a personal feeling for me. I've done the offering. They've taken the energy from it, and then I get rid of it. If you don't want to waste it, waste in, commas, eat it. But only if you feel that that's right. They've taken the energy they need from it, or they want from it, or that you've offered to them. If it's herbs or flowers or anything like that, I will put it, you can put it in the bin or in a compost heap or on the soil, dig into the soil. If it's a crystal I've given as an offering, I cleanse it and put it back in with my other crystals because they've taken the energy they need. The coins that I use for Sulis, I tend to cleanse them, put them back, and then I will use them again. But if it is something like chocolate or cake, I will sprinkle on the garden afterwards. Any drink, whiskey, rum, milk, whatever it might be, that gets poured on earth. So I don't eat it, but it's up to you how you feel. It's done its job for me, so it gets thrown away. But you have to trust your intuition on that one. Claire, my current court case spell going very well, getting a lot of success, did quite a lot of protection reflection work. My ongoing property damaged by neighbour saga. Ooh, not good. I hope it goes well for you, Claire. But you are putting that energy out there. You're working court legal spells. It's just about getting that balance right. Your legal spell is going to affect other people. It's going to affect the people working on the case. It's going to affect the people on the other side of the case. So there's a lot of energy ripples affecting lots of people in that kind of scenario. It's just about taking responsibility for it and understanding that your energy that you're putting out there, your spell that you're putting out there, is going to affect other people. You obviously want it to affect so that it's positive for you, which means it's going to be negative for other people. Not all of them, but generally it's going to affect other people. So it's just about taking responsibility for that as well. Good morning, Jenny. I have a change bowl on my altar, and usually whatever accumulates during the season gets donated to a charity. Oh, I love that idea. It's seldom a fortune, but I think connects me with the energetic ebb and flow, giving and receiving. Brilliant idea, Jenny. I'm going to totally steal that. That's a fab idea. Really, really love that. Thank you for sharing. That is brilliant. We have got a change jar on the side. That we chuck the 2p's, 5p's, 10p's in, and that when it's full up, it gets taken and dealt with. Not so much change at the moment. People don't seem to be using real money very often these days, but I love that idea. I will be starting to do that. Thank you very much. Jane, thanks. Look forward to attunement number 2. Oh, Reiki is amazing. It is amazing to deal with. And I think it does help you with your recognizing energy. Zephora, is there a deity for dogs? Or Anubis would be the one that springs to mind for me. But there are lots of deities that deal with animals in general. But for dogs, it would be Anubis for me. Keith, is there a good book with information about hagstones? I've got a blog post about them, Keith. Have a look on my blog, and there is a post about working magic with stones of all kinds. Don't need to be hagstones. You can work amazing magic with stones and pebbles from just, your garden, your beach, whatever. Have a look on my personal blog. There is a blog about stones there. Deathy, I never do spell work, but I do understand energy. Most work I do is inwards or healing. So other kind of manifesting, but yeah, taking means giving balance should always be kept. Same goes for light and dark. Both can be used for good. Light and dark are colours. Light and darks are two sides. Light, dark, black, white. It's all about balance. Dark isn't bad. White isn't good. It's all about balance. It's about walking that line between the two and balance. It is about knowledge and is about learning. If you are manifesting, if you're working manifesting with energy, you're working spells. So you need to be responsible for the other side of that. Good morning, Lizzie. Deathy, give to elderly people, even if it's just time by talking to them. Yeah, animals. I love animals, so I feed them in my garden. Perfect. It's the little things, Louise, I try and tell my children to say 3 nice things to people every day. Start very early too, yeah. Always look after my garden and allotment and feed the birds. Say thank you to the trees and touch them as I walk by them. Perfect. It is, I say, little things. Lizzie, I volunteer for Age, and I'm not going to read Dexter's Welsh words in Dyfed. So I do a Zoom group, befriended some of them, and also started a couple of Zoom groups for people who live alone and have limited contact. It's my way to give back. It is brilliant. If you have the time to do that, that is fantastic. But I'm betting that you get as much from that as they get from you. Because older people have so much knowledge and so many stories to tell. We do seem to sideline them quite a lot, particularly in England, but in Britain. But yeah, I'm betting you get a lot of fun from that as well. But that's brilliant to do. Good morning, Vanessa. Good morning. Welcome. Lizzie, put it in the compost for council. If your council collects for compost, that's brilliant. We have a brown bin that the council collects for theirs. Good morning, Denise. Deathy, I hope by feeding the birds in my neighbourhood to befriend some crows and magpies. We're very lucky that we have a couple of magpies in our garden. Kerry, I've just started working with the goddesses. Do they have different offerings? Yep. And is that a matter of researching them? No. Yes, no. All of the goddesses, all of the gods, all of the different deities, they like different things, but they will tell you what they want. All you need to do is ask them. You can research. There are lots of books. There's lots of stuff on the internet about correspondences and things that they like and things that work well for them. But your relationship with the goddess or a god is personal to you. It's a friendship. It's a relationship that has to be built on trust, on communication, same as any other relationship with the goddess or god is exactly the same. Do they have different offerings? Yes. I like to give Ganesha chocolate and cake because that's what he loves. Occasionally he will ask me for something else. I've got the Kalak here. She's a little old lady. Don't be fooled. She's a feisty little old lady, but she likes boiled sweets because she's a little old lady. But she also likes pebbles and shells and bones. They all seem to like fresh flowers. I'll go out in the garden and think, I need some flowers for the Kalak. What would you like? Something will jump out at me. So trust your intuition. And as you build a relationship with each deity, you'll find out what they like and what feels right to give them as offerings. Trust your intuition on that. Jane says, Anubis is a great deity for balancing and karma. Yes, absolutely. Oh, another good one, Christine. Thank you. For dogs, I always ask Sirius, the dog star. I always talk to Sirius when my dogs need healing. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Claire, I've given it a lot of consideration and felt justice needed to be served. You've got to follow your intuition on this. Felt I could not just move on and leave the trouble for someone else, as I had been informed they've done it before. You've got to trust where your feelings, your intuition, where you stand for. Zephora, need to ask Anubis nicely to get a bit of grittle out of old dog's nose. Oh, poor dog. For vet to look would need sedation and he's very old, so better to wait patiently, methinks. Trust your, intuition, but be guided by the vets too, because they know what they're talking about. Jane, I bet older people know a lot about folklore and magic too. Yeah, I think there's a lot we've lost, isn't there? We work with weather magic in Kitchen Witch and we teach it. And one of the things I get people to do is to look at the folklore and magic in their area for weather, but also to try and predict the weather, because I think that is a skill that we've lost, where so many people no longer work directly with the land or outside with the land. I think we've lost that whole connection to weather and folklore. So, yeah, fascinating to talk to. Ravenwolf, what do you do with the wishing stones found? Do you keep them, throw them, or give them as offerings? Whatever I feel drawn to do. This is one of those situations where you need to trust your intuition. If you are gifted something from nature, stones, pebbles, leaves, feathers, whatever it might be, connect with them and find out what they want you to do with them. Some need putting back in the garden, some need to be put on your altar. Trust your intuition and be guided by what needs to do. Jane, I can imagine you giving the Kalak a Werther's original. She loves them. And mints. Peppermints she loves as well. She's a little old lady. Sephora, married to a surfer, very connected to the weather. Perfect, because out in the surf all the time. Yeah. So it is, we've gone way over the hour like we usually do. I think it's just about trusting your intuition about what needs to be done. Also, remember that offerings don't need to cost anything. Time, drawings, art, songs, words, movement can all be given as offerings. Just a little bit of time can be given as well. There's a separate thing here, I think. There is being a decent human being and being nice to the people around you, but there's also paying it forward, giving it back, i.e. donating to charity, whether it is physical goods or money or time. Looking after the planet is a whole other thing. You can send healing energy to the planet anytime you like, and she will be very, very grateful of it. But with magical spells, it is about taking responsibility for that energy that you put out there. That energy, whatever it is in whatever form, is going to have a ripple effect. It's going to affect other people. So it is about not just chucking, dog yawning, not just chucking it out there, but being responsible for that energy that you put out there and knowledge that it is going to affect other people. And it is also about not keep taking. You can't keep taking all the time. You've got to put some offerings out there. You've got to give some thanks. You've got to do some gratitude. But I think that is perhaps something that is learnt with experience as you walk down your magical pathway. And it is about knowledge and learning how spells work and how energy works, and taking that all on board. Jill's feeling really old. Werther's original mints. Yeah, little old ladies, see? Deathy uses pebbles given for runes or symbol stones. Perfect. Dawny, look forward to your talk at the Fairy Folklore Conference. That's not me. That is Morgan Daimler. Yes, she's talking at the Fairy Folklore Conference tomorrow. Her knowledge of fairies is just unbelievable. Karen, I feed the crows, and one day they were shouting at me and flying to a tree. I didn't understand what they wanted until I got soaked through the rain. Oh, they were trying to tell you. Yeah, we got to listen, haven't we? We're not very good at that always. Christine, have a great... Well, yeah, we will have an interesting weekend. We're running MoonCon this weekend. So I've drunk my coffee nearly, haven't eaten my cake yet. So please, yes, do join us for MoonCon this weekend. MoonCon is Moonbook's Facebook page and Moonbook's YouTube channel. Lots of talks all weekend, all free. Mine's going to be on the element of fire, which is for my new book that came out last week. Just join us. It's free and there's so much information there, and you'll get to ask questions of all the different authors as well. So thank you. See you all at MoonCon. Maria, I'm looking forward to seeing you next week as well, up in big old Londinium. Tony, yes, Moonbooks weekend is, we will see you there. It's going to be fun. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone. See you hopefully at some point over MoonCon. Have a fabulous weekend, and I will see you all next week.